and jobs that people have relied on for years in our state continue to be offshore. So the question is not, is North Carolina going to change? Because it's changing as we speak. The question is for you as business leaders and me as the next governor of North Carolina, how the state is going to change and how we manage that change, how we build a North Carolina that works for all the people of the state, not just some of us. So, as the next governor, that's a tremendous challenge that I'm ready for. I think that we need to, first of all, make all economic opportunities that we can foster reach every corner of the state, and that the promise of a new North Carolina isn't just for folks in urban Wall Street areas, but also for people from High Point and other communities, Kernersville, Main Street, North Carolina, that every hard-working family in our state has a chance to be part of this new North Carolina, new opportunity. And that's wrapped around our military economy, homeland security, and defense industry sector, to capture the billions of dollars that the defense industry contracts with businesses across this country every single year. I've launched the North Carolina Military Foundation, which is made up of some of the strongest retired generals and some of the biggest businesses in this state. And we are already seeing tremendous opportunity and success to grow a whole new platform. And right here in the Triad, you're one of the state's leaders already in military contracts. I believe this area can very well be the future of aerospace in North Carolina. You've got Piedmont International Airport, healthy and well and prospering. You've got FedEx, you've got Honda Jet, and all that serves as linchpins to secure other military industries here. So the green economy and the defense aerospace industry are powerful, new, cutting-edge job opportunities that you and I need to pursue, just like 20 years ago, other leaders pursued biotech, which made North Carolina the third strongest biotech economy in America. Or like in the 80s, when somebody said, you know, this state can be a leader, nationally and internationally, in banking and finance. And we have two of the world's largest banks headquartered in our state. It takes vision, it takes leadership, it takes heart of a child, and North Carolina deserves to have health insurance. I don't believe that you think any differently, Republican, Democrat, or Independent. We're better than that. We're fundamentally better than that as a people. And to get there, we have to continue to offer opportunities to those low-wage, hard-working families, because the data is clear. If you come from a poor family, sometimes you're not going to get health insurance unless your mom or dad can get it. And I don't believe there's one of you in this room who would tell me that you think an employee who makes $12,000 a year who doesn't qualify for Medicaid ought to have some help in getting health insurance for he or she and her family if she chooses or he chooses to stay in the workforce rather than go on public assistance. It's the right tool to help families be working and productive and help them actually be good role models for the kids that are going to end up being our workers. And so I'm the only candidate in this race who believes that and who will work to make that happen. I also have a plan to help small businesses, and some of you in this room have better, accessible, affordable health insurance for your employees because it's a huge driver to every business's bottom line. These are the right things you do for people in North Carolina. Instituting new technology and knowledge into some of our traditional industries, we can improve and create 21st century job opportunities. You just can't do it the old way. You can have the same concept, but do it differently. And that's why if you'll go to my website, let me give this unparalleled plug for myself, .debperdue.com, you can see that I have proposed ways to put small business first and to do something that I think is fundamentally important in North Carolina, which is called the Main Street Solution, to help smaller towns and main streets across the state compete and thrive, and to help small cities find their owners to grow and thrive in a new global economy. We need investment and support for these smaller cities. As Governor, I want to have flexible options. Options for some communities might be fundamental old business, worker retraining. Some communities across North Carolina are desperate for technology dollars and technology infusion and infrastructure. Some business want incentives to help offer entrepreneurs and innovators into their community to set up business sectors. So whether it's modernizing or revitalizing or restructuring any of the economies in the 5 chambers that you represent here, you know what works best for your own people in your own area. And a Main Street Solutions project will be flexible and nimble and offer assistance to help you do what you need to do to define the core mission of your community. And I believe we also must continue to pursue new economic development clusters for this state. I don't think you can rely on what we are today.
So I do consider myself an environmentalist, but we also have to be very pragmatic, because we have to walk the fine line between protecting our quality of life and environment while also continuing the economic vitality that we all enjoy. And sometimes I think both sides, the extremes, sometimes take us too far over. So what I do is I look at regulations that make sense. For example, I've implemented regulations to protect our drinking water, and we bought major space around our major drinking water to protect our long-term water supply. Prior to the drought, I implemented a major coalition of over 11 municipalities up and down the Catawba River, from Hickory all the way down to Rock Hill, South Carolina, to ensure that we have the same environmental standards, the same rates, and the same conservation standards up and down the river. It's got to be a team effort. I formed a coalition of businesses and government working together that during high ozone days, we work with the private sector and even reward the private sector for getting people out of their cars. And we help them give alternatives to work at home during the high ozone days that we see often in June and July in North Carolina. So we've done some very innovative things, including some major land use planning of trees, protecting our trees and tree canopy, and I've also implemented the most aggressive mass transit program in North Carolina's history, which I think in the long run will benefit our environment greatly. What we'll do is implement a 50-year transportation plan in which every one of you will be able to see what the plan is presented by, and we'll have the experts presenting that plan, not the politicians or those who give the most money to the gubernatorial candidates. It'll be based upon fact, it'll be based upon reason, it'll be based upon congestion, it'll be based upon economic development needs, it'll be based upon the environment. That's the criteria, not the politics of road building and the politics of our state legislature in Raleigh, North Carolina right now. If we do that, we will have a transportation system that we can show current and future employers that North Carolina is preparing our infrastructure for growth as opposed to reacting to it. And I've done that in Charlotte during my first term as mayor of the city of Charlotte 12 years ago. I introduced a 25-year transportation and land use plan. And I add land use because if you don't have land use to go along with the transportation, you're going to make some of the outer beltways obsolete before they're done. And we have successfully implemented that. We're now in our 12th year, and in criticism of myself, we should have made that a 50-year plan. Because 25 years in the life of a city or 25 years in a state is far too limited. We've got to prepare for the next generation, and that includes our children, and it also includes companies and future entrepreneurs. That is my goal, and that is my plan for transportation, is to take the politics out of it, which includes not stealing from the trust fund. That's why Governor Martin called it the trust fund. We don't need a constitutional amendment. We need a governor that will veto any effort to steal from the trust fund. That's all it takes. You don't need rules for ethics. You need values for ethics. You need action for ethics. In addition to economic development, we need a governor that actually goes out and recruits. I've been recruiting businesses now for 12 years. I play a very active role. It was very discouraging this year when I was recruiting a Fortune 10 company. And I went to a major city in the Northeast, and I was the highest ranking state official, and I'm not a state official. And I was meeting with the chairman of the board trying to convince this company to come to North Carolina. And out in the lobby, the administrative assistant said, oh, well, Governor Perdue from Georgia is on his way, and Governor Rendell from Pennsylvania is on his way. Our governor wasn't here in that recruitment effort. Our governor has got to be visible, not only in North Carolina, but across this nation and across this world.